It'd have to be a politician or Fetterman, the laid back warriors. But anybody or the casual dress down Friday warriors, which I think would be, I'm sure they would love it.
Great.
I'm sure they would love it. But those people also, I love the fact that if they made rules for people, they also would have to get out on the battlefield. And at some way, they have to put their money they have to put their blood where their mouth is.
100%, and it actually goes deeper than that. So yeah, if you're running for consul and you want to be consul, the thing that you want for yourself and expect for yourself is to be the leader of the legion, and then go out and defeat something or someone on behalf of Rome, and then come back and have a triumph. And the triumph is you getting to parade through Rome and show off the spoils of your conflict. And sometimes there were actual wars to fight, and sometimes there's this very funny thing. It's called triumph hunting, which is when a consul comes into power and he's like, there's nobody to fight. And so he'll just pick some random tribe and attack them and be like, oh, I defeated such and such a people, so he can have his triumph.
Which we still do today in different ways.
Yeah. But
create enemies, I mean.
Yeah. We do invent enemies and then go fight them, don't we? But there is a thing, like in early Roman society, really through almost to the end of the Republic, there was a property qualification to serve in the legions, because you had to have enough money, you had to have enough land to participate in the legions. Their assumption, their sort of cultural assumption, was that the people who constitute this society that we are in are fundamentally like the landowners. And if you own a plot of land, then you're a part of the society. You're the people who go and fight for this society and defend this society. If you are, if you're in poverty, if you don't have land, you don't qualify for service in the Legion, because in their mind, you're not actually really truly a part of this thing that we are trying to defend.
Right. So how could you put that you're all into it if you don't have something, you don't have a vested interest almost?
Yeah. And then the leaders, and then the higher you go, the more you are out there. Now, granted, like they're in the command tent, you're not like on a horse, like literally leading the charge, but you were expected to be out there and an active military leader. And everybody who had a stake in that society, that meant that you also had to be there. The richest people in society went off to war. The poorest people stayed behind. And we have kind of flipped that.
Yeah. God, that's fascinating. I can't even imagine it. But it sounds like, you always hear like, oh, I wish all of these, if these politicians had to have their children go off to war, they would feel totally different about the things that they send children off to war to do. You know?
They're called chicken hawks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't know that was the term. It is.
Yeah.
Chicken hawks?
Yeah, we've had chicken hawks all throughout history. The people who will bang the drums of war and then send other people off to die.
Wow. A chicken hawk go back up to the top, has multiple meanings. In bird names, it refers to 3 hawk species: Cooper's, sharp-shinned, and red-tailed. In gay slang, it's used to describe an older man who prefers younger males, okay? And politically, it can describe someone who supports war but avoids military service. Like draft dodgers, kind of.
Yeah.
Similar to that.
Yeah, and we've had a whole run of them as presidents. Clinton got out of it, Bush got out of it, Trump got out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Obama, I don't think, had the opportunity to.
But yeah, we certainly have not followed that same steed where the people who are writing the rules are the same one who have to go out there and make sure it's their own blood that's providing the ink.
Yep.
Have you ever been to a water park? And when you finally get to the top of the baddest water slide, you look down and have that final thought, what's the worst that can happen? Well, a Morgan & Morgan client found out. He was launched into agony after a water slide at Disney's Blizzard Beach left him with catastrophic injuries that he's still dealing with nearly 4 years later. Mr. Strickland hired Morgan & Morgan to represent him in his lawsuit against Disney for damages, citing what they call lax safety measures and oversight. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over $25 billion recovered. They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years, helping over 500,000 clients get the compensation they deserve. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. With Morgan & Morgan, it's easy to get started, and their fee is free unless they win. Just visit forthepeople.com/THEO or dial pound law, pound 529. That's forthepeople.com/Theo or dial pound LAW, pound 529. This is a paid advertisement. The new Sonic Sweet Topped Lemonades are a tasty lineup of multi-layered drinks that make it more delicious than ever to kick back and take a sip of something refreshing. That may seem like a highfalutin promise about lemonade, but no, it's not. Sweet Topped Lemonades combine tart, all-natural lemonade with velvety sweet cold foam on top for a satisfying sip. Available in 3 delicious flavors: classic lemonade, strawberry lemonade, and blueberry lavender lemonade. These sips are hard to resist. My car might feel like an oven right now, but Sonic is cooling things down with sweet-topped lemonades. Get sweet-topped lemonades now in the Sonic app. Holy shit, dude, you're so good at this. Have you ever taken this on tour, Mike? Did you ever think about that?
So I go on book tours.
Okay.
And I do that. I did 2 years ago. I wrote a 75-minute monologue that's just me like at a table talking for 75 minutes and took that around. And that was moderately successful. There was sort of like a big, meta, not analysis, but like meta take on history and how we tell stories and what the stories of history mean to us. And it is like a lot of what I just said, how we shape our present society is the stories we tell about the past.
I could see this being a fascinating tour. I don't know exactly how you would do it, but you got to do a tour of this. I could see this. I want to talk at the end about what it would be like if we had a tour that you went on, like with some visual effects.
We're actively planning this now.
Yes.
Great.
Good. This is how things happen.
Yes, it is. Because we both got a little bit of ambition, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
That is fascinating. Yep. And the fact that if a government found a way to curtail people's ambition, wow, how fascinating that is. Because you never even think that could be happening to you. Mm-hmm. Were they curtailing people's ambition during Rome?
Well, I mean, certainly a slave was encouraged to not think that there was anything else that they could do but be a slave. A woman was encouraged to believe that there was not anything that she could do but be a woman who was mostly there to make little Roman boys. So yeah, there was an elite that was allowed to have these kinds of ambitions, but a lot of other people were supposed to know their place.
Got it.
And
so it was a caste system pretty much?
Yeah. And like Stoicism, there's lots of great stuff about Stoicism as, one of the, main sort of philosophies that comes out of the ancient world. But one of the sort of, I think, negative things about Stoicism is it encouraged people to just do the best they could with whatever they were meant to be. And so, yeah, if you're a slave, you were just told, well, be the best slave that you can be. That's not really a great message. And Marcus Aurelius, who's one of the, great, voices in Stoicism, would be like, we all have our role to play in this, and I should be the best emperor that I can be, and you should be the best soldier you can be, and you should be the best slave you can be. And aren't my burdens the same as that of the slave? And it's like, well, Marcus Aurelius, I'm not actually sure that's true. It's a nice thought, and I do understand that there are burdens to being emperor, but
it's easier for you to say that.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for you to say that. Less so for the slave.
What did people wear during the time? Like, what was some common garb, kind of?
Well, I am not an expert on what they were wearing around.
Oh yeah, I feel that
for sure. But I can say this: the sort of the togas that we all imagine them wearing. This is very upper crust wear. Like, the toga was practically a tuxedo. Like, you would clock that in Roman society as like, this person's walking around in something very fancy, and it's something that the senatorial class would wear around. So like, most people are not bumming around in daily life wearing a toga. Those were actually like, they're very cumbersome. Right, to wear around. It was a cumbersome piece of clothing.
Yeah, it's almost like you're playing hide and go seek in your own clothing. It's very, because you think it's going to be easy and you got to keep this end up. It's like people's like, yeah, I'm a ghost or whatever. And you probably had a nice piece of fabric from somewhere, which was something only wealthy people would have.
Yeah, and when you get into sort of like what are the fruits of having this kind of empire and having trade routes that are now reaching to China? They've got silks coming in. They've got other kinds of like fancy finery that they get to wear. But like most people are in rough tunics, and like some sandals. And that's about what they're wearing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you didn't have any Air Force Ones or anything. Did they have what were people eating at the time?
If you are just a peasant, you're eating whatever's around, barley, millet, like
that, parts of beer.
Yeah, there's a lot of barley and millet, that's going around. If you're on the coast, you've got fish coming in, and you've got different kinds of the fruits of the fruits de mer, right, in French, which is the fruits of the sea, which is seafood. There's some. There's meat. There is red meat that people are eating, but it's, in far less quantities than we eat today. And then, you can get Roman cookbooks today where people go through like different recipes that we sort of knew that they had. And like, dormice always seem to show up as one of the things that people like to eat.
A little dormouse.
Yeah,
huh?
a little dormouse